All right, so what is your name?
My name is Debbie Lynch.
Debbie Lynch. Awesome. Okay. How old are you?
Oh, how dare you?
I
No,
know.
I'm 68.
68. Awesome. Okay. So currently, what is a position you're in and what necessarily do you lead?
Okay, I am in the position of the pastoral care
Awesome.
pastor at Allison Park Church,
Cool.
and I lead the visitation team, the prime timer ministry, and I have a mentor group that I lead.
Awesome. Very cool. Okay. So how long have you been in this position?
Well, I've been on staff for 28 years.
Okay.
28.
Wow.
Older than you. Yeah, I've been there on 28 years. I've been in the pastoral role for 7 years.
Awesome. Okay. So talk me through that then. What do the 28 years look like? How did you first get into leadership and kind of hit the highlights of that?
Okay, I started out as a part-time temporary employee there
Okay.
at the church right before your dad took over. And then once he took over, then I became his assistant. And then I just helped him, navigate his leadership roles and
Yeah.
everything. Through that, I learned tremendous amount from your dad.
Yeah.
And so then it was about 10 years ago, he said to me that, he said, I think you should get your credentials because you are doing all the roles of a pastor. So it took a couple of years and I got my credentials. And then I started then doing the prime timer ministry, leading that. And then all the pastoral care functions that I lead those groups now.
Awesome. Very, very cool. Okay. So currently in your leadership position, where you're at in that pastoral care position, what are some challenges that you're facing now or even just facing in your leadership in general?
I guess some challenges for me is that I'm much older now. And so the techniques have changed through the years.
Yeah.
A lot of things are done online through FaceTime, through all that. And as all this technology is a lot foreign to me,
Yeah.
so I think my challenge is being able to truly communicate with the younger people on the teams
Yeah.
in the way that they receive.
Got it.
So being older, I have to try to always make myself younger by, keeping up on technology.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool interviewing these different age groups because you really do get different challenges where it's like, man, the younger ones are maybe a little bit more insecure, and now it's like, oh, keeping up because it's just like life
Yeah.
moves fast and things change fast. So that's really, really cool. Okay, so in your leadership, what would you say is something that's been really rewarding, or something that's really given you life and that it's kind of kept you in leadership?
Well, I'm going to just refer to our prime timer ministry. Now,
Okay.
that is a group of people who are 60 and above.
Yeah.
And some of them have just gone to church all their lives, and never really held any position. So in the prime timer ministry, we have about 50 people. And so we break up into small groups. So what has been rewarding is to encourage and mentor some of these older people to take leadership positions. And they thought that their lives were kind of off to the wayside because
Yeah.
everybody's younger, but they're being moved up into leadership positions. And I can see them flourishing and have a great purpose.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's been rewarding to me, to raise up people to see that they're really functioning in a good purpose for them.
Yeah. That's very cool. Yeah.
In the later years, especially when there's so many young people around, you feel like, okay, now you're off to the side.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of drifting through life. But being able to have influence on people and has really been rewarding for them.
That's awesome. That's super, super cool. Awesome. Well, okay, since you have been in ministry for a while, have there ever been any times that maybe you've doubted your leadership or doubted where God has put you? Talk to me about that.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes every day, But, yeah, I have because, again, I started later in life to do all this. I'm a follower more than a leader, but I've learned so much being in this position of observing, especially your father, how he led. And so sometimes I do feel like inadequate, because especially nowadays things go faster. The communication is faster. The tempo is all faster.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I think, should I retire? Am I too old for this?
Yeah.
So sometimes I do have my doubts.
Yeah. And it's interesting there too, because amidst all of the age groups, that was one thing that, like, no matter how long it had been, it's like my dad and Gilbert and now you are all saying, oh, there was definitely times that even to this day, it's like I still doubt myself sometimes. So that's really, really cool to hear. Okay, so what's something you wish somebody had told you before you took this next step into leadership? What's something you wish somebody, like a nugget of wisdom, somebody had said, hey, be careful of this, or maybe a reality you weren't ready for that somebody could have said, like, hey, be prepared for this in leadership because you don't expect it?
I think what has been harder on me is like when you really invest in someone and you see the potential in them, and they start to become involved in everything, and then all of a sudden they disappear. You feel like sometimes I wish I would have known that happens. Because, when it first happens, it's like, what did I do wrong? Why did they leave? And so I think that's been one of the things that it would have been nicer to realize that happens above board to everybody.
Yeah. Wow, that's really cool. Cool. Awesome. Okay, so because you've been, you said 28 years that you've been, at APC doing stuff. That's awesome. So now would you consider yourself maybe an expert in leadership, or somebody who has a good grasp on leadership, or what would you say if that's a yes or that's a no? I would love to hear your thoughts on that.
No, definitely no. You always have to learn, know, and leadership is evolving.
Yeah.
It evolves. So, no, I'm definitely not an expert. Now, your dad, yes.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I try to read books. I try to listen to podcasts, and I think, sometimes I'm just at the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. It's funny you say my dad, because whenever I interviewed him, he was like, oh, no, definitely not. He's like, there's people who know way more than me. So that's interesting you talk about, constantly wanting to grow, because that really is something that's in all great leaders. It seems like through all of you guys that I've interviewed, it's all of you are saying there's still more I need to learn. So, yeah.
I'm going to tell you, and this might not be your question.
Oh, keep going.
But I think the one leadership thing that I feel your dad modeled the best for me was humility. In his leadership roles, he's a very humble, and I think that for me, I want to be that humble leader too.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. That's really awesome. Okay, so you were saying, you're not an expert, and you were talking about some of these things you do to grow. So what are some ways you still continue to foster your leadership or grow in that area of your life? What are some steps you take, and maybe tips for people who are wanting to grow in their leadership as well?
I try to hang around people that are leaders. Even I try to learn from the younger leaders too.
Okay.
Because I really appreciate like our team at church, because I'm older than most of their parents, and so I learn a lot from the younger generation, so that I can be relevant to that part of my team, and also the new ways of doing things. Yeah. And then I listen to podcasts all the time. I read books, and I just kind of listen, as people are talking. I listen to other leaders as they are leading their teams.
Yeah, that's really good. Cool. Okay, so you kind of hit on this a little bit before, where you were talking about, humility being a big thing that you admired. Would you say that's the most important quality a leader can have, or in your opinion, what is that? What is that one thing, or maybe multiple things, that makes a great leader?
I think vision. empowerment, um, uh, being able to admit mistakes, you know, that maybe you've made. And I think that humility is really very important. But I think the empowerment and the vision and being able to communicate where you want to go, because if you don't know where you're going, it's hard to lead people into that direction.
Yeah, you know? That's really good. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the last question here.
Okay.
For a young leader like myself, or maybe somebody who's also like me, where they're kind of at the beginning of their journey into leadership, what is one piece of advice you have for us, the new leaders?
Don't be hard on yourself. You're gonna make mistakes.
Yeah.
You're not perfect. Life is a journey. It's not it's not like I'm going to be there, you know.
Yeah.
Enjoy it along the way, because you can learn from people. You can enjoy it, you know. Don't be so hard on yourself that you think you have to be an expert as soon as you get off the bat.
Yeah.
You know?
Awesome. Yeah. Well, Debbie, thank you so much. I know I learned a lot from this. You know, as a new aspiring leader, it's so cool to talk to people who, you know, have been in this for a while, and even older generations, hearing how things might have different and how they're adapting now. So it's really, really cool to get that insight. So seriously appreciate you helping out. Is there any last remark you'd want to give, or something to, you know, kind of close it out, like your closing remark?
Well, here's the thing. I think you keep your feet on the ground, you keep your focus on the Lord, and you allow Him to lead you, and really pray about everything. And I think, you know, you're going to be an excellent leader, honey. You really are. Yeah, I think that God has a plan for your life, and as you pursue Him, He's going to make it happen.
Awesome. Well, hey, thank you so much again. Appreciate it.
Okay, sweetie.
All right.